ICAO thumbs up federal government investment on aviation.
Nigeria now is in a privileged position to benefit from opening up more routes, more international connections.
Sacrifices of yesterday recognized today. Vice President Oshibajo others make it to Leadership Hall of Fame.
And therefore dedicate this award to millions of Nigerians who believe in this new Nigeria.
Tuesday of Tears. Gas explosion sends scores to the grave in Kano. Hello and thank you for joining us on NTA Network News tonight. I am Ianri John and we're live in Abuja. Also reading with me tonight is Adiola Komiakere in Lagos. And just before we begin, it's good to know that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all our social media platforms displayed on the screen for updates. President Muhammadu Buhari says investments will be deployed to the provision of critical infrastructure and facilities for the desired safety and security in the civil aviation industry. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this while receiving in audience the visiting Secretary General of the International Civil Aviation Organization, Mr. Juan Carlos Salazar. State House correspondent Adam Musambo has the details.
The Secretary General of the International Civil Aviation Organization was in the State House to, amongst others, formally appreciate the leadership role Nigeria plays in civil aviation in Africa, describing the country's record as one of the most impressive in the world. ICAO also recognized the excellent work by the Buhari administration to maintain high standards in line with international best practices.
ICAO is very grateful for the level of attention and support that you offer to civil aviation. Nigeria now is in a privileged position to benefit from opening up more routes, more international connections. You have the infrastructure, you have airlines and markets that are rapidly growing, and that will be a tremendous contribution to the economic development and recovery in the whole region.
We moved passenger numbers from 8 million to 18 million in 4 years. Mr. President, this is debunking the already established fact that aviation doubles every 15 years. Under Kano, aviation quadrupled in 4 years. In terms of safety and security, for the first time in the history of Nigeria, our airports are certified according to ICAO standards. Nigeria College of Aviation Technology in Zaria today has become the center of excellence for Africa by ICAO. And they have the highest number of training instructors, ICAO training instructors, in the whole world.
President Muhammadu Buhari said Nigeria, since becoming a member of the ICAO Council in 1962, has been playing a key role in supporting the implementation of the policies and programs of the organization internationally and particularly in the West African region. He said the country is also championing the cause of aviation safety, security, and facilitation on the continent.
Nigeria will continue to make significant investments in the provision of aviation infrastructure and facilities for safe, secure, environmentally friendly, and sustainable economic development of international civil aviation. We will also keep supporting the ideas and aspirations of the International Civil Aviation Organization and the achievement of its strategic objectives in collaboration with other member states of the organization.
And in its bid to ensure continuous compliance with ICAO standards and meet the challenges of a rapidly growing air transport sector, the federal government has established independent agencies in order to enhance aviation safety and security while ensuring effective and efficient provision and management of infrastructure in all aspects of the industry for sustainable development. The government, President Buhari said, has also approved the establishment of Aerospace University in Abuja to cater for research and development, as well as continuous manpower challenges of the sector.
In this regard, Nigeria is looking forward to the continued support of international civil aviation organization under its No Country Left Behind initiative. Nigeria is fully committed to working with other states and support the implementation of the Global Aviation Safety Plan, the Global Air Navigation Plan, as well as the Global Aviation Security Plan.
The government, President Buhari explained, has adopted a civil aviation policy which is centered on liberalization and public-private partnership initiative, resulting in huge investments in the nation's airports infrastructure and services. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari this Tuesday granted audience to the Oluwawari Kingdom, Ogame Atuashe III. State House correspondent to the Musambu reports that the monarch was accompanied on the visit by some prominent traditional title holders from Ishekiri land. The high-level engagement with the president held behind closed doors was the second since the beginning of this year. Details of their discussions were not disclosed to journalists. During his last visit to the State House in January, the Oluwawari described President Buhari as a dogged patriot and fervent believer in Project Nigeria. He used the opportunity to draw the attention of the president to what he called some burning issues dear to the hearts of Ishekiri people, which may have been addressed. Hence, the return visit to show appreciation. Also, the presidency has reacted to statements credited to the Northern Elders Forum calling on a section of the country to leave the federation. The federal government reassures Nigerians that there is only one elected government in Nigeria and no group can take that responsibility away. Like many other countries around the world, Nigeria is feeling the strain of the current period of volatility and uncertainty. Now is not the time to seek to exacerbate divisions amongst Nigerians. Rather, all Nigerians must come together and work to overcome the challenges the country is facing at the moment. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the newly elected Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud for successfully staging a comeback after being unseated in 2017. President Buhari said the re-election of Hassan Mahmoud is a significant indication that the people of Somalia appreciate his efforts to unite and rebuild the country after decades of civil war and terrorist activities. President Buhari commended the outgoing president, Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed Farmajo, for his swift acceptance, which inevitably will lead to a peaceful transition in the best interest of the people. President Buhari reassured the new Somali leader that Nigeria will continue its usual support for peacekeeping efforts in Somalia, adding that African countries must unite against terrorists and other evil forces. In other news, new and emerging technologies are remodeling human activities, providing options for better living as the world strives to achieve sustainable development goals. Based on this, attention now centers on the role of technology in the era of digital globalization and its benefits to the older populace at the grassroots. Chibdima Ndubisi reports that the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, is addressing these issues as it marks its day.
It's been observed that the younger generation adapts better and are even driving activities in the digital space. Could this be as a result of being born at the same time that these technologies emerged? Well, that's a discuss for another day. The older generation, on the other hand, seems to be left behind. Most of them lack knowledge or skills to operate these technologies that offer life-changing opportunities. Meanwhile, there are various ICT tools that can improve people's socio-economic, education, and health status, including the aged.
Adult or aged person can actually go on the internet and get some important information about their health that can lead to the saving of life. You can have a house that is a smart home that an old person can live in that will facilitate the ease of their lives. So there's so much that is available as a result of digital technology.
That's why the World Telecommunication and Information Society Day With the theme, Digital Technologies for Older Persons and Healthy Aging is focusing on bridging the digital divide so the elderly can fully maximize benefits of the digital age. In Abuja, Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Many thanks, Chimdema. I now have with me live via Zoom to throw more light on the World Telecommunications Day, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Pantami. Thank you for joining us, sir.
It is my pleasure.
All right, so how does this year's theme speak to the realities of ICT in relation to impacting the lives of the elderly?
Well, thank you very much. Today, we are celebrating the World Telecommunications and Information Society Day 2022. And this celebration has started since 1969, that is 53 years ago. And the theme of this year is celebrating about the application of digital technologies to support older persons and healthy aging. So the choice of this theme is to make sure that elderly people are not left out of the equation when it comes to the adoption of digital technologies, because usually, as we all know, youth are more inclined to digital technologies. But this year's theme is to show to us that there are many benefits for older persons and for those who are aging, the way they can deploy technology to acquire knowledge, to take care of their health conditions, and to get access to world-class medical facilities and their treatment.
All right, like I already mentioned, information communication technology is a veritable tool for improving health standards. How valuable can this be deployed to address poor health indices of citizens, especially the elderly, in developing countries such as Nigeria?
There are so many ways, because today the application of digital technologies can provide accessibility to world-class medical facilities and treatment. And secondly, it provides affordability. If you go to the Apple Store, you will discover that there are so many applications, or Google Store, there are so many applications where when you download, you will get connected to world-class medical facilities. Some of them are even indigenous applications where you can get connected to a hospital. And today, with the development of artificial intelligence, robotics, and even 5G, it becomes possible to have real-time communications and also to keep in touch with medical experts from wherever they are in the world. Meaning that the issue of distance, that you are in Nigeria and the medical doctor is either in Europe or in America or Asia, doesn't value so much today. What is most important, as long as you are connected, you will have that accessibility and at the same time, affordability. So our elderly people, if they go online, they will discover that there are 1,001 applications that can support them to have access to medical facilities. And secondly, some of the applications, they will only guide you to tell you even your body temperature, sometimes to even measure your blood pressure, and at the same time, some will even count the steps you do every day when it comes to your well-being and many more. So because of this, this is very applicable. And when it comes to the healthy aging, you'll also discover that there are so many applications also that can help you to keep in touch with what the world is all about. For example, most of our people that are aging, you will discover that they are worried with isolation. They don't have people that are always with them to keep them busy. But today there are so many applications that even if you are aging, they will keep you busy. Sometimes you will feel like you even need that isolation. So because you benefit more from the isolation and engagement with the facilities than the physical engagement. And also they will help you to keep in touch with your beloved ones. You can use digital technologies, have online chatting, online discussion, see your beloved ones from any part of the world through virtual communication. Today, I'm at home and I'm discussing with you virtually. So this is one of the applications that can even help people that are aging to be in touch with their beloved ones.
Honorable Minister, I must say this is very interesting, and it's good to know that the elderly ones are being carried along in the trends in the digital world. Many thanks for your thoughts on NTA Network News tonight.
It is my pleasure. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right. Let's go for a quick break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying. The city of Kano is calm, with people engaged in their routine business hours after an explosion of a gas cylinder that paralyzed activities in Sabongari area of the metropolis. Elizabeth Ila reports 8 deaths have been confirmed by authorities.
Valentine Uzonwulu is a father of 6 students, all in the Winners School. The unfortunate incident in the early hours of Tuesday forced him to rush to the school to find out the situation of his children, only to meet them at the hospital.
I just hear boom, every my window even scatter every place before we run to the school. So we need to run to school before I rush my children to house. So before we find ourselves come here.
The story is the same with that of Tinyeri, who has 4 children in the same school, with 2 of them sustaining injury from the explosion.
I call some my first daughter. I call her. He remain one son, one of my son. I call all of us come gather. From hospital to hospital, we are looking for him. They direct us one hospital that is Sarikiyaki. We go there, we didn't see. They direct us to one clinic at Ajabudo. We go there, we didn't see him. They direct me here. Immediately we come here, we see. I saw my son, but he won't. That is alive. I need to thank God.
Meanwhile, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has commiserated with the government and people of Kano State over the gas explosion at Sabongari area of the state capital. Professor Osinbajo, during the visit to the scene of the incident, expressed shock that little school children were among those injured. Abdullahi Mustafa has to report.
The Vice President arrived at the scene of the explosion in company of Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. They were received and briefed by the Commissioner of Police Kano Command, Samaila Shaibu Diko.
The EOE expert came in and they discovered that it was a gas cylinder. There is a welder here who have been here for the past 7 years.
Professor Osinbajo, who described the incident as devastating, sympathized with the victims and enjoined relevant authorities to take preventive measures against future occurrence. He prayed for the repose of the souls of those who lost their lives and quick recovery of injured victims.
And say that the peace and security of all individuals and of all residents of our states are responsibility of all. And we pray that this sort of terrible incident will not repeat itself.
In a statement, Kano State Commissioner for Information Muhammad Garba confirmed that 5 persons lost their lives and scores injured. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
A review of the National Disaster Risk Management Policy launched in 2019 by the National Emergency Management Agency is underway. Ruth Aguela reports that the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is engaging relevant stakeholders to achieve disaster risk reduction in Nigeria.
Disasters are inevitable, whether it is flood, fire incident, a building collapse, or related incidents. The effect is usually devastating. Preparedness, mitigation and response are key ingredients in tackling disasters, and the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development understands the task before it, which is why relevant stakeholders have gathered to review the National Disaster Risk Management Policy document to improve on its structure.
The objective of this review is to identify any limitations of the policy, is to understand new and emerging trends and issues to involve as many local players in any of our interventions as possible. So the new model is used from the state and academia, the capacity and facilitating of the disaster management project, make input and further rely the policy related to program intervention for its causes of concern. So we have to bring this to force, carry out the sensitization massively. There should be education, and there should be good governance.
The policy document was designed to strengthen resilience to disasters and raise awareness on disaster risk reduction in communities. With the growing concerns in mitigating disasters, the review of the policy is expected to change the narrative on disaster risk reduction in Nigeria. In Abuja, Ruth Aguale, NTA News.
Elections anywhere in the world can only take place when the country is safe. So, politicians must always place the safety of the country above every other priority. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Laki Rabo, gave the advice at a security seminar at the National Defence College, Abuja. Defence correspondent Ismail Musa brings us details.
Terrorism and banditry in the north, secessionists in the south truncating socio-economic activities in Nigeria. These threats are also displacing millions of victims in parts of Chad, Niger, Mali and Senegal in the West African sub-region.
Threats from violent extremist groups have made it imperative that the security agencies develop a coherent strategic approach to surmounting these challenges.
The assemblage of these security experts at the National Defence College is to probe the nature and dynamism of these security challenges and to prefer solutions.
Our politicians must factor the necessity to have a secure state first before vying for any elected position. Without a secured country, I must add, elections are a mirage.
Platforms like this are common sights. But what new will this strategic engagement bring to the table?
Over time, we have been emphasizing on the whole of society approach to addressing security challenges. But now we are taking it a step further by involving the whole of the sub-region.
Each citizen must have a role to play in the security situation we find ourselves today if we must get out of the hole.
The forum is focusing on emerging security threats in West Africa, implications for regional security and stability. From the National Defence College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And still on security, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has asked Facebook and other social media platforms to stop allowing the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, to use their platforms to incite violence and instigate ethnic hatred in Nigeria. The minister made the appeal in Abuja at a meeting with a team from Facebook. The minister said since IPOB has been proscribed and classified as a terrorist organization, Facebook has no justification for using its platform to the organization to further its campaign of hate and destabilization of the country. Lai Mohammed restated that meeting was to enable government and Facebook discuss the increasing use of the platform by separatists and anarchists. However, the minister said the government would be monitoring Facebook and other platforms closely in the days ahead to ensure compliance with the demand as it steps up the campaign for the responsible use of social media. In other news, participants of the Senior Executive Course 44 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, Kuru Jos, are on 1 week-long study tour to Ogun State as part of their course program in gathering information and data for policy formulation. Lekon Agbonde reports that the Director News of the Nigerian Television Authority, Halima Musa, is one of the course participants.
Receiving the course participants of the Senior Executive Course 44 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, on behalf of Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun, the State Deputy Governor Noimot Salako Oyedele, duet on the efforts by the Dapo Abiodun-led administration in boosting economic growth and scaling up the level of infrastructure development in the state.
Last 3 years, we've constructed over 300 kilometers of road because we know that people have to move around. And socio-economic barometer wherever you go.
The Director General NIPS, Professor Ayo Motayo, who led the delegation, says the essence of the tour is to seek clarifications on issues affecting local government administration in Nigeria as part of their research work for policy formulation.
Everybody at different times will speak to issues, the debate disease, and they must come up with one single position.
The delegation thereafter paid homage to Alake and paramount ruler of Ebaland, Oba Adedotu Aremu Gbadebo, and Olu of Ilaro, Oba Kehinde Olugbenle, and later had interaction with stakeholders in local government administration as some local government councils visited. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the 4th International Conference of the Institute of Electrical Electronics Engineers, tagged NigerCon 2022, has commenced in Abuja. Kenneth Nanim reports that focus is on effective deployment of disruptive technologies for sustainable development in the African continent.
Nigeria, like some other developing countries of the world, is still grappling with the challenges of deployment of disruptive technologies. Now, experts in the electrical and electronic engineering sector from more than 35 countries of the world converged on Abuja, with those joining virtually. The essence is to harvest ideas on the best ways to explore the advantages of disruptive technological innovation for the societal benefits and to change the narrative of Nigeria and the African economies.
Nigeria needs to take advantage now and start making the economy grow better. And thank God, more investment in new technologies, in fintech, is happening in Nigeria than any other nation in Africa.
On the deployment of 5G network, the conference agreed is a pedestal for the success of the technological initiative in Nigeria. And the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Ali Pantami, provides insights on the advantages.
If 5G is deployed effectively and utilized, definitely it will go a long way in addressing most of our security challenges in Africa and Nigeria in particular.
As a country, we need to position ourselves to unlearn and relearn new way of doing things, and also to apply these disruptive technologies in our new business models.
Local content development and inclusion to solve indigenous challenges is among other areas of interest.
It is a collective effort to advance disruptive technologies to the unserved locations, underserved locations, and sustain the ones that are being fed for the served locations.
The two-day conference is expected to end on Thursday, 19th of May, 2022. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
With NTA, the awareness of the rights to privacy and protection of personal data can be louder and clearer. This is not because NTA is a data regulatory body, but the fact that the National Data Protection Bureau is seeking partnership with the authority on enlightenment and capacity building that will guarantee compliance. Charles Alpha tells us more.
Many activities on the digital space, which include the use of mobile phones, credit card, and computers, leave trails of personal data on the internet, such that if found in the wrong hands could have devastating effects on an individual. Some Nigerians, whether educated or not, record shows are still ignorant of the existence of the National Data Protection Regulations, let alone its provision with respect to the protection and integrity of their personal data.
It is really important for us to create awareness on the part of data subjects to let them know their rights when their data is being collected for one processing the other.
The Nigerian Data Protection Bureau, in its drive for ample awareness on collection and compliance, is leveraging the platforms NTA avails given its reach.
It's really important that when you talk of awareness, you need to work with NTA to ensure that the message that we are preaching is taken to every local government.
For NTA, recognizing the values of data security for an improved information management practice in Nigeria is sacrosanct.
I'd like to tell you that our support is guaranteed. as a new organization, I think you've come to the right place.
Both parties are not just collaborating to create awareness, but build staff capacity to ensure compliance with available data regulations and its provisions. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Let's now take a trip to Lagos, where Adiola will feed us with more news. Adiola, it's over to you.
Thank you, Inyara. To sustain the wave of democracy in Africa, good governance and citizen participation should be prioritized. This message resonated at a one-day conference on democratic consolidation and resurgence of military coups in Africa, organized by the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. Kendi Adebisi has details.
5 African countries in the last 2 years have experienced military coups, while one had an unsuccessful attempt. This worrisome trend posing a threat to democracy in Africa is the reason for this gathering of intellectuals who are here to deliberate on factors responsible for the resurgence and to suggest possible solutions.
They have to depend on France. Mali has had to depend on Russia for military support against local tribes that are fighting for separation, as in the case of Mali. I don't think we should be clamoring for military coups, but what we should be asking for are good leadership, good governance. What we should be asking for are the inalienable rights of the citizens.
Citizens' participation in the democratic process took center stage in the various paper presentations. It is the belief of these scholars that a level playing ground will give way for a robust democratic system of government in Africa.
The good thing is that ultimately, the people have not said they don't want democracy. They have said they want democracy that works. I mean, that's the verdict.
As part of efforts to quench the thirst for military takeover, it was recommended that African continental organizations can no longer sit on the fence, but should rather implement policies to suit African countries. In Lagos, Kendi Adebisi, NTA News.
Rehabilitation of some major highways within and beyond Lagos State are ongoing at steady pace, with reduction in traveling time as one of the gains when they are finally completed. In this report, Adeniyi Taiwo engages some stakeholders on how the soon-to-be delivered roads can be better managed to reduce crashes.
Apart from rail development, road rehabilitation is one other major infrastructural intervention by the federal government. At over 70% completion, with end of year 2022 projected for delivery, 127-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Expressway tops a long list of ongoing projects.
We have work ongoing on Lagos-Badagry Express Road. In Ikorodu-Shagam, we are already above 70-75%.
Even at the various stages of completion, roads undergoing repair work are already providing some relief to motorists who are excited about the prospect of reduction in travel time.
Anybody will put motor for this road before, if you buy motor today, never 3 months, you go park up for house.
This particular lane now that they have done, since they did it, we've been enjoying it. I think movement can now be more easier.
Their excitement comes with a major concern, though, and that is road abuse with excessive speed.
On our roads, once we complete them, the road signs will be there, and that is to ensure that people know where they are heading to, the speed limit, names of locations, directional signs, and informative signs, and the rest of them. Then we also have provision for road marking, so that people can keep to their respective lanes. On some of the very key ones, we also have provision for pedestrian crossing.
This concern has also not escaped the radar of the Federal Road Safety Corps. Lagos State Sector Commander Olusegun Ogungbemide said strategic deployment of manpower will be matched by intensive sensitization of motorists.
We have our motorbikes and our leading vehicles from Lagos to Ibadan corridor. And as the other roads corridors are getting better, we also reintroduce it. And outside that, we have various points
where we do enforcement for those that are not fit to be on that road.
These measures notwithstanding, the onus still lies with individual road users to follow highway codes and shun excessive speed, both for their own sake and in the interest of others. In Lagos, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
And having contributed on quota to News Tonight, do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/alllive and on all our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. The news will continue after this break. To stay on.
Have you back. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo tops a list of accomplished Nigerians recognized and honored earlier today by one of the country's leading dailies, leadership newspapers. The Vice President was honored as Leadership Person of the Year 2021, essentially for his role in governance. Francis Form reports that the Leadership Newspaper Conference and Award Series took place here in Abuja.
An award ceremony, the Leadership Newspaper Conference and Award Series does open with a serious conversation. This time around, the talk centered on how to reset Nigeria's culture and politics, geography, and the role of big ideas.
So once education replaces tribe and religion and region as means of accessing the levers of power, then the society has spoken that big ideas can grow and blossom and defeat mythology.
Changing conditions have produced an objective demand for a new reset to correct the challenges that have emerged.
Remember, in the forthcoming 2023 election, there is life beyond elections, a life of accountability.
For the awards, the series states the cause in recognizing persons who have distinguished themselves in the public and private sectors. The year in review was 2021, and several popular names made the list. Let's begin with the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Therefore, dedicate this award to millions of Nigerians who believe in this new Nigeria and who retain faith in our possibilities as a people and are doing their best every day in their various corners to build this nation through honest endeavor.
Because this is also a media event, the First Lady wishes to implore the Nigerian media as an institution particularly to give regard to championing the objectives of the Nigerian state.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Governor of Sokoto State Aminu Waziri Tambuwal backed awards as Politicians of the Year, while the governors of Akwa Ibom, Bauchi, and Gombe states got the award for Leadership Governors of the Year 2021.
The economy normally thrives around business, and we are doing a lot, and we shall continue to work hard.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, the GMD NNPC Limited, and the Tony Elumelu Foundation were among others duly recognized for their contributions to nation building. The reward for hard work is more work. Chairman of the Niger State Traditional Rulers Council and Etsonupe Yahaya Abubakar re-echoed this when he enjoined the awardee to continue to give in their best in their services to God and humanity. Franks is from NTA News.
We sincerely apologize for the mix-up at the start of that report. Moving on now. The First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Buhari, has enjoined the newly elected President of the National Council of Women Societies, Lami Adamu Lau, to endeavor to carry all Nigerian women along during her tenure to ensure successful implementation of the set objectives of the Council towards achieving gender parity and women emancipation. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports that the First Lady said this when she received the newly elected executive members of the NCWS led by its president Lami Adamu during a courtesy visit to the First Lady on familiarization tour.
The President of the we are keen to use our numerical strength to encourage and support women empowerment and participation in politics. both at the national and grassroots levels. We need to record higher rate of our participation in politics by ensuring that all qualified women registered for voting, because our votes will count.
The newly elected president, Lami Adamu, assured the First Lady of her readiness to work diligently with all the critical stakeholders towards improving the course of women and ensure greater participation of women in all spheres of human endeavor.
Effort in supporting the good work that you do for women of Nigeria. And I pledge the Council full support for the programs, projects, and initiatives taken by the Office of the First Lady in stimulating action to promote gender development in Nigeria.
Their loyalty must be to the government of the day. And you being the national grand patron of this organization, our visit today is to present this expo so that you can give them your blessing as a mother.
She also pledged her support to the activities of the Aisha Buhari Foundation and future assured programs towards improving the quality of lives of Nigerian women, youths and children. Now time to talk business, and Benny Adams is here to feed us. Benny.
Thank you, Mary, and welcome. I'll start by telling you that the West African Insurance Advisors Association, WAISA, is pushing for regional integration to strengthen trade and cooperation through the College of Insurance Advisors of the West African Monetary Zone, CISWAPS. To this end, member states of WAISA are meeting to consider how to strengthen the insurance advisory body for effective regional integration.
The various templates we plan to develop: template for presenting country report, template for implementation of regulatory standard and presentation of Governors Convergent Council directive, template for financial stability report. All these templates, they are permanent documents that require joint discussion.
The International Association of Insurance Supervisors, IAIS, has provided a forum for members to share their experiences and understanding of insurance supervisory and insurance markets.
And on the capital market, stocks depreciated further by 0.35% compared to 0.29 recorded previously to close transaction at 52,756.62 basis points. Market capitalization dropped further to 28.4 trillion naira. 1.3 billion shares were traded by investors in 6,449 deals valued at 7.7 billion naira. FCMB, Jais Bank, and Transnational Corporation top the activity chart. That is business news. Network news continues after this break.
Now time to have a bit of sports. The Edo Queen's coach has been sacked. Let's have more details from Samuel Johnson.
Aderonke Akumbi won Team Nigeria's first medal at the ongoing International School Sports Federation Games in France after clinching gold medal in the girls' 3,000 meters. The kid, who won the women's 5,000 meters at the second all-comers in Lagos with a time of 17 minutes 0855 seconds, dominated the track and broke a 33-year-old record of 9 minutes 41.28 seconds in a time return of 9 minutes 36.86 seconds, a new national record. Back home in Nigeria, results of the two actions of the Nigerian Women Football League Super 6 Cup show that Edo Queens lost 0-1 to Nasarawa Amazons, while Bayelsa Queens humbled Niger Retals 4-0, among other results. Meanwhile, Edo State government has sacked the chief coach of the women's team, Edo Queens, as a result of poor performance in the ongoing NWFL Super 6 tournament. Paul Umukago reports that Edo State Sports Commission chairman announced the sack shortly after the team's loss to Nasarawa Amazons.
At this point, we have to leave our appointment. I have to sack the coach, let the assistant take over from now on.
I didn't get anything wrong. I did my best. I recruited players from different 12 clubs.
Football scouts from England, France, Australia, and South Africa will be in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, Wednesday to select players for various clubs in Europe. With 206 participating teams, the Bayelsa Governors Cup competition, otherwise known as the Prosperity Cup, is among other things discovering budding talent at the grassroots. With sports update, Samuel Johnson, NTA News.
And with sports done, it's time to have a quick peep at the weather outlook for Wednesday.
We're glad to have you on one of these weather forecasts. Still a picture before me showing panel weather system sitting down in Chad Republic and Northern Cameroon that will give thunderstorms this Tuesday evening that will linger very early in the morning of Wednesday to give isolated thunderstorms over southern Borno, northern Adamawa, and southern Taraba in the morning. The high grounds of inland cities of the south, particularly in Enugu and the coastal belt of Bayelsa Rivers and Cross River, have to even hold a better prospects of thunderstorms activities over the eastern flank of northern Nigeria, the high grounds of the central state down to the coastal belt of the country. The remaining part of the country will be partly cloudy to cloudy condition. I leave you with temperature forecast across some selected cities, and thank you for watching.
And that concludes NTA Network News tonight. Many thanks for watching. And just to let you know that if you want to be a star, then you must join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. I'm Henry John. Have a good night.